YouTube, what's up? Mr. Smith 26 here. It's been quite a while. Good to see you guys again. Now, Madden 17 is just around the corner, and in case you didn't know, EA released the full ratings for all the players in Madden NFL 17. And a lot of people know about that through the actual EA website, which is great. I definitely spent a lot of time on there going through all the ratings. But I'm a CFM guy, and one of the sites that I use, or the site that I use, is Daddy Leagues. It's really great for you CFM guys. You definitely want to check that out. They host your leagues, and there's a lot of really nice stuff that the actual CFM on the console doesn't have. And furthermore, for all the Madden 17 player ratings, they actually have it listed a lot better and a lot easier than the EA website. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this, and I'm going to show you how to do it. There's going to be a link in the description. I'll even post the link in the comment section for you guys so that you can go and take a look at these guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with all the players in the NFL. And if we scroll down, we're going to notice that it shows everybody in order from the best players in the game all the way down for all the different positions. So this year there's 499 overall players. That's JJ Watt, Luke Kuechly, Von Miller, and Rob Gronkowski. Aaron Donald is very close with a 98 overall. So no quarterbacks, if you notice, this year really up in the top upper echelon for players, except for Aaron Rodgers at a 96. But normally we do get a quarterback at least, up in the top 5. So a lot of it is definitely defensive. You can see right end, linebacker. You do have a tight end, but a DT, a linebacker, so that's definitely a little bit different from norm, which is good because hopefully we get a nice defensive game this year. So let's just quickly go through a couple things here. We'll go through a couple positions, and we'll just show you guys what we have to look forward to. So these are the top 3 to 5 quarterbacks, and you can see some of the ratings. You guys, of course, can go through all of this on your own. And let's take a look at what's another good position that people like. Well, I mean, obviously wide receiver, right? Everyone loves offense, but personally, I am hoping for a defensive game this year. But wide receivers, like an Antonio Brown type of guy, he's got 93 speed, which is good. 93 acceleration. I feel like in the past, he didn't really live up to expectations in the game just because, speed in Madden means so much. And when you've got a guy like in the old days, you've had like a Hines Ward who was like 85 speed. And in Madden, that's not very useful. So just to give him a little bit of a bump here, he does have 93 speed, 93 acceleration, just to really kind of, excel into one of the better players in Madden to go along with his, of course, stellar ratings for catching and spec catching traffic, etc., etc. Now, one thing that we can do is if we click on Antonio Brown, now I always like to open up in a new window because that's just kind of like how I like to do it, is we can actually just get a quick look at all of his numbers. Now, again, I do apologize, my little graphic there is in the way, but you can see the majority of the stuff here. We got 93 speed, got 88 jump, stamina could be very important this year, the awareness. He doesn't have good strength, but he's got that 99 catch, 97 elusive, ball carry vision, which is certainly good. The juke move is probably one of the reasons why last year he was actually my favorite wide receiver in the game. The fact that he was only 5'10" didn't really matter. We don't know how that's going to play out for Madden NFL 17. We know in the past height was always a huge thing, but last year it was not. So we're going to have to find out now. They do say that aggressive catching is toned down. So the question is, are we going to go back to needing those 6'4" wide receivers, or are we going to be okay with a guy that's, only 5'10"? Look at the spec catch. Look at the route running, the catch in traffic, and the catching. You really can't get much better than that. So you can go and you can click on all these guys and see all the ratings. For you CFM guys, unfortunately, it doesn't show their development trait. When I knew that Daddy Leagues came out with all these ratings. I was really hoping to see the development trait, but unfortunately we don't get that. So real quickly here before I let you guys go, what I want to do is I actually just want to go over my 2 favorite sleeper teams for you CFM guys. I drafted 20th overall and ended up getting the Green Bay Packers in one of my leagues. I did get the Tennessee Titans in another league that's been long-standing. And who else did I get? Oh yeah, and just recently, I was actually lucky enough to get the Jacksonville Jaguars, which to me are the best CFM team. They've got a lot of young talent. I know a lot of people agree with this. A lot of people think that they are the best team, along with the Raiders, because in CFM they're so young and stuff like that. And, just due to the contracts and the fact that you can progress them, the Jags definitely are the team to look out for. The Raiders are a team to look out for. But I want to go over my 2 favorite sleeper teams, and the first one is actually going to be the New York Giants. So obviously Eli Manning isn't really a bright spot for this team, but you also have to consider that you can think about, okay, so what am I going to do as far as the draft goes? Whatever team it is that you take, you have to decide, okay, so what's my biggest weakness? What do I need to look forward to in next year's draft? What position? Well, obviously, with Eli Manning as your quarterback, and he is getting older, quarterback is certainly going to be the first position that you go for. But let's take a look. I mean, we're going to actually go position by position here. And we're going to leave out quarterback just because we don't want to take up too much time. But for halfback, halfback is definitely something that is a little bit to be desired. They don't really have any speed, really. The overall isn't, now that I think about it, just going over this, you could go with quarterback or running back as your first pick in the draft. Unless, of course, you get a nice running back in free agency or something like that. I know Dre Archer's available. But, at wide receiver, they're certainly set, especially if Victor Cruz, he's not bad in CFM. I mean, they certainly gave him some pretty nice numbers. If we click on his thing here and we can see that he's still got some pretty good catching numbers, spec catch numbers, route running, isn't bad. He's got the good juke move. Stuff like that. So Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham, for example, are some really good guys. But what I want to get to more so than the offense is I think with Odell, and I just think with, they have a solid offensive line, but you got to have a team that is very strong on one side of the ball or the other. That's the way that I look at it. You don't want to be mediocre on both sides. You want to be really strong on one side and build the other side. So Odell Beckham is a great starting point for this team. Obviously, you're going to build off him for offense. But on defense, you are completely set. They just picked up 91 overall, Olivier Vernon from my Miami Dolphins, which, oh, you know what? You can't even see that. I apologize, guy. But they got Olivier Vernon. I'm going to have to go to all ratings, actually. I apologize for that because it won't let me scroll down far enough. Okay, so Olivier Vernon at right end. Their cornerbacks, they've got some of the best corners in the entire game with Janoris Jenkins and DRC. Obviously, a ton of speed. Overall, for cornerbacks this year is not that high. I mean, the 2 best corners in the game are for the Denver Broncos, like the best duo in the game. And they're like a 93 and a 91. And I say that the New York Giants probably have I'd say the second or third best cornerback core in the entire game. Then you've got JPP. He's only 27. Vernon's 25. You're getting a little older there with DRC, but luckily he's got the speed that even if he goes down a little bit to like a 90 speed, you're still good because he is 6'2". You've got Jenkins at a 20. He's only 27. Damon Harrison, an absolute monster, who's 27, played with the New York Jets. So just look at that line. You've got Vernon, Jenkins, Harrison, Then you've got Jonathan Hankins, a 24-year-old stud at defensive tackle. Um, your defensive line and your secondary is completely set. I mean, for the most part. And if this game is very defensive, that's exactly what it is that you want. Linebackers, they do have some speed out there. They don't have a ton of speed. I just believe, like, I'm not saying that these guys are the best team in the world. What I'm saying is they're a sleeper team for me as one of the teams that you can build off of a lot because of the fact that they have that core defense. It all starts up front. They have that. And then obviously the secondary, anytime you're getting pressure with a great defensive line, the linebackers, yes, are a little weak, but that's okay because you're going to generate the pressure from the defensive line, and then the secondary being so good is going to force a lot of turnovers because offense is going to have to get rid of the ball quick, etc., etc. Now, the next team that we're going to look at as my other sleeper is actually still in New York, and that is the New York Jets. And the reason for this is because of the fact that they've got Darrelle Revis. Now, this is an older team, but this is a team where if you feel like you're really good and you want to win, now you are maybe ahead of the curve for Madden. You're one of the better players in the league once Madden comes out. And maybe, you find, okay, people start to catch up as time goes on and they buy ebooks or they go on YouTube and, they start to catch up to you. If you want to be the one that wins that first Super Bowl championship, the New York Jets are definitely that team. A little bit older, but they've got Revis, they've got Marshall, they've got Decker. I mean, again, the ratings are lowered, so don't look at an 87 overall and think, oh, that's only an 87. I mean, the ratings for players across the board are definitely a lot lower than they have been in the past. So Matt Forte they picked up, again, he's a bit older, but don't worry about that 86 speed. Worry about the fact that he's going to have some of these trucking ratings and things like that you can really build on. Precision moves for these moves in Madden 17 are going to play a big role. So the fact that you've got juke move at 86, stiff arm, trucking, and spin move all in the 80s is pretty good because while you don't have anything in the 90s, which is what a precision move takes, if you're not in the 90s, you're not going to get that super spin move or that super juke or anything like that, or the stiff arm will be a little bit weaker. But once you get into the 90s, that's when the stiff arm actually becomes a great tool when you're using the precision. So the fact that you've got a choice to upgrade whichever one of these that you want, and they're all in the 80s, is actually something that can't be overlooked. A lot of people might have like a 50 spin move, or their stiff arm is real low, or their trucking is real low. So if you're the type of person that you have a preference, you're a truck guy, you're a stiff arm guy, well, here you get to choose what is best for you and go from there. He's got that 99 stamina, so he's going to be your workhorse. He was a workhorse in Chicago. The 73 strength. Definitely a guy with 70 catching, which is ridiculous for a running back this year. These, catching numbers are certainly very, very good, and he is 6'2". So that's always a good thing to have for a running back because if you want to throw it downfield a little bit, he's got that height to be able to catch the ball maybe in some traffic. And then, of course, defensive line, again, Muhammad Wilkerson, 89 overall, Sheldon Richardson, you're good at defensive ends. I mean, you are absolutely good at defensive ends, and you've got that one nasty corner. So you're going to get pressure off the edge. You've got that corner, that one guy that's really going to kind of, be the staple of your defense. They're not going to want to throw to that side of the field really that much. We all know that Revis has been a monster in Madden for many, many years. And then you've got, some pretty good guys otherwise. You've got a really, really young Leonard Williams. He's a right end at 22. Now, while we're already set, with Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson here, he could be trade bait. Or what you could do is, depending on some height and weight, you could, of course, put Muhammad Wilkerson to defensive tackle. Now, he's only got 71 speed, so that's good. That's actually a fast defensive tackle. So now, Wilkerson at defensive tackle, Sheldon Richardson, Leonard Williams, and you've even got Steve McClendon as, a guy that can kind of sit in. He's older, but he's definitely got solid numbers to kind of get in there and get the job done. Again, not a team that's going to be stacked, but for those of you that are drafting for your teams for the upcoming season and you get a really late pick, these are the two teams that I think are underdog picks. You don't want to get stuck with the Detroit Lions. You don't want to get stuck with San Diego Chargers, even though actually one of my buddies really liked the San Diego Chargers last year in Madden 16. But, and then you've got guys like Jay Samaro, who is really good to progress. He's 6'5", he's 24 years old, that tight end position. Bruce Carter, a little bit older, but he's got some speed. Geno Smith, Geno Smith is one of those guys where, yes, he's terrible, right? But he is young. He does have that speed, and anytime you've got that speed at a position, you can, of course, upgrade that guy, progress him. That's the whole point of CFM. You're not stuck with a guy as is. You get to kind of move up the board with him and do some things. And this year, you're able to progress 3 guys at once with the new system that they have. So it's going to give you the ability to not just focus on one player anymore. It's going to give you the ability to kind of round out your team as a whole with the way that they have things set up. So definitely want to check out the blogs from EA if you haven't heard the news on CFM. I'll look for a link and see if I can post it there as well. But there you go. daddyleagues.com. I'm going to post that in the description and in the comments section. You can come and check out all the player ratings, and the New York Giants and the New York Jets are my 2 underdog picks for CFM. I got a couple more videos coming out, guys. It's good to see you again. Have a good one.